Hi, thanks for being with me here today. The topic today is planes of existence. If you do enjoy this episode of my podcast, please like it, subscribe. Not only does it help me personally, but it really helps other people find the show who it might help them. And that's the reason I'm doing this show. So thank you so much. Hello to Farmington, Missouri. Appreciate you being here following the show week after week. Another way of explaining planes of existence would say almost dimensions. So there are seven planes of existence, which have a lot to say about how we create our own reality. They describe how everything that is created from the plane of thought and the other planes of existence. By understanding these planes of existence, we can understand how diseases manifest themselves physically, and thereby we can work further from that. There's a lot of information about the seven planes of existence, and this is just part of it. One thing I'm going to be covering, I think you'll be interested in, is how to go from a lower plane to a higher plane. So I'm sure you want to know that. Know that man is so much more, first and foremost, more than a physical body. Originally, man was divided into body, soul, and spirit, considering every human being consists of life, consciousness, and body. The world of spiritual science has thus extended this consideration to man consisting of or existing on seven planes of existence. This is in contrast to the medical and natural sciences, which still largely maintain that man consists only of the body. Let's talk about the spiritual itinerary. The seven planes of existence can help us understand what it means to have spiritual development. They are the stages of development we as humans must go through on our spiritual journey. It is the itinerary of spiritual development. First, the chakra. Understanding the seven planes of existence can be used as an approach to the concept of chakra, which is central to understanding what it means to have a spiritual development and what this development should end up with. The concept of chakra has its starting point with yoga, and the spiritual ideas behind yoga shared with ideas about the seven planes of existence, which are about the same frame of reference and holistic understanding. So, in spirituality, one deals with something called the higher self. And according to what I just talked about, your higher self extends from the causal plane and up, and including the atomic plane. When you talk about getting in touch with your higher self, you mean getting to know your intuition, your soul, your true identity, your innate abilities. Thus, the idea of the seven planes of existence can be used to understand the spiritual way of viewing intuition. Only by knowing our own spiritual nature can we find out where and how our thoughts arise and become more aware of our intuition. Through the understanding that man exists on seven planes of existence, we also gain a deeper understanding of the concept of aura. An aura has different layers, each showing different sides of the person. People often talk about the four primary layers, also called bodies, in the aura. The physical body oscillates at a lower energy than those four primary layers, which oscillate at higher and higher energies of frequencies. The four aura layers are from within the human body and out: the etheric aura, the astral aura, the mental aura, and the spiritual aura. So let's talk about these seven planes of existence. Spiritual science reports on reality as seven planes of consciousness. The physical plane is the lowest and the densest plane of matter. When God created the seven planes of consciousness or existence, it happened from within and out, or from above and below. Therefore, all of these planes are expressions of life and spirit. A substance is spirit in its lowest aspect, while spirit is the expression of matter in its highest aspect. The Spirit created the planes of existence with the intention of developing love and wisdom to perfection. All human beings participate in the development process. This is without exception. When humans incarnate and exalt their character, they do so simultaneously on all the planes of consciousness on which they work. Strengthening the emotional life, for example, helps to raise the frequency at the level of the collector of astral consciousness, etc., on and on. These planes of existence also mean states of consciousness that are characterized by different densities and dimensions of matter. Our solar system has 7 planes of existence, each of which has 7 subplanes. These planes of existence constitute the lowest plane of cosmic consciousness and constitute the subplane of the plane. So the 7 planes of the solar system are 1, the physical plane divided into 3 purely physical and 4 etheric subplanes, 2, the astral plane with 7 subplanes, 3, the mental plane. The 7 subplanes are divided into 2, the rupa plane, which is the concrete plane of thought, and the arupa plane, the abstract plane of thought. Number 4, the Buddhistic plane, the spiritual world. This is the world of intuition. 5, the Atmic or Nirvanic plane is a high vibrational plane of existence associated with the soul or Atman, the pure eternal essence of a being, considered the highest level of spiritual consciousness within the individual. Essentially, it is the place where one experiences complete unity with the divine or universal consciousness. Next, number 6, the Monadian plane, the source of all life on earth, and it is believed to be the spiritual center of the universe. It is where all forms of consciousness are created, all souls are born within this plane, and to this plane all souls will eventually return. Number 7 is the Lagoic plane, the highest plane of existence, often associated with the concept of divine consciousness. This is where the ultimate principles and laws of the universe are directly perceived and understood, representing a state of pure, unified awareness and cosmic wisdom. At the current level of development, which is in complete transformation at a vibrational level by a shift in consciousness, humanity functions primarily on the 3 lowest levels. When the planes are called lower and higher, it does not mean that some of the planes are literally higher in space than others. These planes do not lie on top of each other like shelves in a bookshelf. Instead, they penetrate one another. Therefore, a movement from one plane to another does not have to cause a movement in space, but is solely due to a change in consciousness. In this way, man can recognize finer or coarser states in evolution. The planes are separated at the atomic level as each plane has its special atoms and their compounds form the subplanes and shapes. It is said that each plane has 1 dimension more than the nearest and lower, such that the astral plane has 4 dimensions, the mental plane has 5. But whether the principle applies to all the higher planes is actually unknown. However, higher dimensions are likely to be characterized as a kind of conscious expansion. Each level of consciousness has a frequency. The lowest frequency belongs to the 7th plane, the physical plane. For each plane, the frequency increases. The 6th plane, the astral plane, has a higher frequency than the physical plane and can therefore not be experienced through the physical senses that are created to relate to the physical plane, but the physical world can be experienced on the astral plane because the frequency there is higher. The astral plane is the collective unconscious of mankind. It contains the sum of the emotional life on earth. That's just enormous. Everything that humanity has ever felt, coveted, and desired has taken shape on the astral plane and exists there as astral archetypes whose frequencies affect people who tend to feel the same emotions. The astral plane is in constant motion, changing colors and shapes due to mankind's changing emotions and desires. A person's personal astral body is non-physical. It's an invisible body, also called an energy area, which has the same shape as the physical body. The astral body is a prerequisite for a human being to feel. When a human incarnates, the soul constructs a personal astral body with the same shape as the physical body out of the matter found on the astral plane. The astral plane can be perceived as the astral body of the earth. Souls not yet incarnated are also on the astral plane where they are waiting to incarnate, and there they work as helpers, or they're on their way to the mental and soul plane, which is the causal plane, when their emotional desires have been lived out and processed. So they are working towards of total enlightenment, being an ascended master. If the physical man wants input into the astral plane, it requires metaphysical abilities such as clairvoyance, intuition, having a very close relationship with one's dreams. Because when you're on the astral plane, you are dreaming. Astral refers to the word star with Latin and Greek roots. And in Sanskrit, the astral plane is called the Kamaloka, world of desire. So when I say it requires that, I think I just want to emphasize here that this is why developing your intuition and your spiritual gifts, whatever they may be, are so important. Number one is the physical plane. This is where our etheric body takes place. Man has two bodies. The first one is the physical, and it dies when our biological processes cease. But the second body is the etheric body, which has the same shape and size as our physical body. And this body is divided into two parts, the doublet and the health aura, which differ from the other bodies in that it's reformed at each incarnation of man and dissolved upon the death of man. The other bodies continue to exist after physical death and enter each new incarnation in connection with a newly formed physical body. The part of the etheric body called the doublet can be considered a kind of architectural drawing for man. It is the duplicate that is believed to shape the physical body. At the onset of death, the doublet leaves the physical body and the body disintegrates because what held it together, the doublet, is no longer present. The duplicate can sometimes get stuck near the physical body, and this is what is interpreted by many as a ghost. Within a few weeks, the duplicate dissolves. Often one does not deal much with scientific evidence in the spiritual universe simply because much of the universe cannot be measured, can't be weighed or proven. But precisely with regard to the etheric body, I think it should be mentioned that an American scientist around the turn of the century weighed dying patients. And who would have expected it? But there was often a weight reduction during the death struggle, and they attributed it to fluid loss. But the scientist also thought he could ascertain that at the moment of death, all the patients had lost about 26 grams of weight, which of course has been taken by some as proof that man has a soul and that the soul left the body, therefore the soul must weigh 26 grams. The second part of the etheric body, the health aura, has its origin in the energy centers called chakras, which are discussed in another episode. In short, the health aura attracts life energies and channels them to the physical body. When the body's energy stores are full, the excess energy settles as a protective sheath around the physical body. This leads to an interesting assumption that man can, in principle, not become ill due to external causes because of his protective mantle. That would mean the causes of illness always lie in oneself. Well, there's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of, not shouldn't say evidence, but a lot of belief around that for a very long time. Negative thoughts, emotions, and unhealthy lifestyles can diminish the power of the health aura, thereby creating weak points through which negative energy fluctuations can penetrate the body and cause disease. This is why it's so important to protect your aura. If you start feeling, especially you empaths like me, if you start feeling it in your solar plexus, you're feeling drained, you feel kind of sick, your solar plexus hurts, it's like someone stabbing holes in your etheric body, in your aura, and it is weakening that protection around you. So herein lies the explanation that positive thinking within the spiritual is seen as very important for health. Next, the astral body. Like the etheric body, the aural body has the same shape and size as our physical body, but its aura radiance has an oval shape that extends up to several meters from and around the person. The astral body contains our desires, psyche, emotions, and emotional moods. As we find here, all our conscious and unconscious states of anxiety, aggression, feelings of loneliness and rejection, lack of self confidence, and so on, it shows that we are genuinely inside an area that shapes our view of the world and which is the background for many of the energies we emit to the outside world. As the energies we emit attract similar energy fluctuations from the environment and unite with them, we are often confronted with the very people and situations that reflect what we consciously seek to avoid, escape from, or whom we're afraid of. How can individual bodies, including the astral body, be developed, thereby freeing themselves from any negative energy, radiance, and attraction? The astral body does not die when our physical body dies, and humans stay on this level when they die. It is assumed that we humans have a more or less developed astral body. On the lower parts of the astral plane are people bound by grosser emotions, hatred, selfishness, people with addictions, people caught up in greed, etc. The higher astral levels deal with finer emotions, impersonal, abstract. Artists, philosophers, and scientists are busy with their work in that astral level. The astral body of the ordinary reborn person does not move consciously on the astral plane, but some people do visit in their sleep. They visit the astral plane, and the experiences are remembered as dreams. Clairvoyant humans see in the astral aura of the incarnated human being the emotions that are bound on the astral plane and can thus gain knowledge about the emotional state of the observed. So that's how I, as an intuitive, do reading, is picking up the emotions from that astral plane, because I do visit the astral plane awake and asleep. Next is the mental plane. We experience the mental plane in the form of thoughts, which is why it's also called the world of thoughts. It is far more difficult to consciously contact this plane, and dreams from here are more rare. All human thoughts appear in the aura of the mental body, which in turn resonates on the mental plane. What is called the personality belongs to the mental plane and descends through the astral and physical planes. According to the mental plane, the personality ceases. It is assumed that humans, in the same way as with the astral body, have a more or less developed mental body. And this is often referred to by the fact that the energy fluctuations on the planet are higher or lower. In the lower parts of the mental plane, man is characterized by using the linear way of thinking of the rational mind in their search for answers and the truth. Here, the inspiration for the thought processes is taken from below in the physical plane. Thus, information is collected from the physical body, which via the etheric body is transferred to the astral body, which then transform the information into emotions, which are again dispatched to the mental body, which then responds to it by transforming those into verbal thoughts. That's a lot of transferring. Due to the astral body's influence with its unresolved emotional structures, information is often distorted and the mindset is colored. Our thoughts are thus influenced by unfulfilled dreams, longings, and wishful thinking, which means that rational thinking, what we call rational thinking, is almost never impartial and objective, even though we might believe it is. In the higher parts of the mental plane, the inspiration for thought processes is taken from above in the spiritual planes. Thus, information about the spiritual truths is gathered from the spiritual planes, and these are integrated with a rational sense, which transfers them to concrete situations, leading to solutions to problems that are in accordance with universal laws. The knowledge and insights gained from spiritual planes often manifest themselves in the form of intuition, including images and sounds, which in turn are transformed into verbal thoughts. The way of thinking here is holistic in contrast to the rational linear way of thinking mentioned before. Next, the causal plane. Above the mental plane is the causal plane, which is part of the mental plane, but since most people do not function on the causal plane, it is separated as independent. At the causal level, the abstract thought process unfolds. Plato called it the world of ideas, and Theosophy also called it the world of the soul. Only a few people are conscious of the causal level. In humans who are still very unconscious on the spiritual plane, the causal body and its aura extend only about 1 meter from the physical body. On the other hand, in a human being who is very enlightened and deep in the spiritual universe, the causal body and its aura can radiate several kilometers out of the physical body, thereby transforming the original oval shape into a regular circular shape. So the fifth, sixth, and seventh planes are the spiritual planes. Existential planes higher than those that make up the personality are considered spiritual. The most spiritual plane of existence we encounter is the Buddhistic plane, not Buddhist, which stands for spiritual love, the world of intuition. So, some final thoughts here. In esoteric and religious teachings, planes of existence represent different levels or states of consciousness and being, often described as distinct realms or dimension that interpenetrate our physical reality, allowing for a conceptual framework to understand the various aspects of existence beyond the physical world, including spiritual growth and evolution. Essentially, they provide a way to describe different vibrational frequencies of reality and the potential for consciousness to transcend the limitations of the physical plane. Some key points to take away about planes of existence. Each plane is associated with a distinct level of awareness, ranging from the dense physical realm to higher, more subtle realms of pure consciousness. Many traditions believe individuals can progress through these planes through spiritual practices, reaching higher levels of understanding and enlightenment. While often described as separate locations, these planes are considered metaphorical representations of different aspects of our inner experience. Some examples of planes of existence in different traditions. In Buddhism, they describe 31 planes of existence, including realms of suffering, pleasure, and formless realms. In Hinduism, concepts like the astral plane and causal plane describe different levels of reality. In Western esotericism, often divides planes into lower astral, associated with emotions and desires, middle astral, a place of learning, and higher astral, representing pure consciousness. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and those of you who asked for this, I'm sorry it took so long to get to you, but glad I could finally present this topic to you. And know that next Sunday's topic is giving more grace. I think you'll really enjoy that. I think it's a way to make ourselves feel better, more happy, to spread some love and calmness amongst our mankind and try to transform the earth one person at a time. In the meantime, may your angels surround you. May your angels protect you every moment, every day of your life. I'll see you next week.